circuit here at SAFRL is something of a throwback circuit. Built in the 1940s, it's been updated just enough over the years to meet the requirements of the SAFRL.
Evening everybody and welcome. Welcome to SAFRL Season 5, Round 10, it's the finale. Obviously the Drivers and Constructors Championships have already been decided. So round 10 it's more about some pride. One last go in Season 5. Evening to everybody in the comment section. Already some chatter even before the stream got started, so awesome to have everybody with us. Already some cars going out on track immediately. Not a lot of time. Remember, just do Q1, it's a short quali. Everyone gets 18 minutes. If you time yourself well on a short track like Brazil, you should be able to get 3 runs. It is one of the shorter tracks on the calendar. If I'm not mistaken, it's the second shortest behind Monaco. So I think we can expect pretty close lap times. It's usually something we've seen in the past. Shorter the track, the closer the gaps. Let's see what we get out of this quali session. First of the 2 McLarens now emerges from the pits. Got a busy racetrack. They're all on outlaps. First one over the line to start a fast lap, the Aston Martin. No times on the board yet, just over 15.5 minutes remaining. Just the 15 runners for the final round. We are riding with the Aston Martin of Thiago. He was the first man over the line, so I believe this will be the first timed lap, first fast lap anyway, of the evening. We'll see confirmation of the Drivers' Championship. Cheddar. He leads the championship by 37 points. So therefore, regardless of what happens today, he cannot be overtaken, and that is your Season 5 champion. Thiago goes over the line, sets a time of 1:08.6. That'll be the first of many cars to go over the line in the next couple of minutes. Jacques goes P2, 1:08.9. We ride with the Mercedes. It's Midas. Let's go on board with him as he heads up the final piece of this circuit. Such a crucial part of the circuit. If you don't get the traction coming out of that final corner going up the hill, it just takes your lap time away from you. But he's not having any of those problems. He takes provisional pole, a 1:08.3. And so far, every time we have seen is within the 1:08s. I do expect close lap times. Do have quite a few people watching, so that's quite a few people that can leave a comment. So let me know, what's your top 3 prediction? And if you're brave enough to put a name to it, who's going to take pole? Got a bunch of drivers on in laps. Got Walsh. This was the McLaren that left it a bit later, came out after his teammate. He is on his first fast lap of the evening. Still a lot of drivers to set lap times, almost half the field. Here we go with the McLaren up the hill. Whilst it's over the line, it's good enough for P10. It's a 110 flat, and he'll be looking to bring that lap time down in further runs. We have Cheddar, who has retired from the session, as has... I hate pronouncing new names. Let's just go with John. I'm going to pronounce the second one wrong anyway. So Cheddar and Williams driver have retired from the session. They will be starting from the back row of the grid, unless anyone gets disqualified. Then they will obviously start behind those two. This is Simps for McLaren. He's on an in lap. He set a time of 1:08.3. What a difference in time there. Look at that. Told you the lap times were going to be close. Did anyone pick that up? Gap for the front row. Round 10 and we're still pushing. Gap for the front row, 0.02 of a second. The Ferrari livery really sticking out. Looks really good, that livery. The only thing I don't like about these temporary liveries is, well, sometimes they're better than the original. You sort of want them to keep it. Here we have the one and only Mercedes tonight. I believe the other Mercedes is Logic, and he's not here with us tonight. So it's Midas, the only representative of Mercedes as far as I know. He's on provisional pole with a 1:08.332, but that is not a safe lap time. Simps just 0.02 of a second away from pole position. So it's Midas has come out early. It's on an out lap, going for a second run. Obviously hoping for a clean circuit ahead of him. Get a clean run, unaffected by any traffic. And sometimes you think you've got a clean run and then a car comes out of that pit exit at the last moment. Ooh, and he just loses it there on the exit. Luckily for him, he hadn't used too much battery up until that point. He can just get that charged up, get those tyres up to temperature and have another go. Or maybe he'll come in and throw on another set. But it's Midas making a mistake on his second run. Wizards is in P4. Do believe this driver has a 3 grid place penalty for an incident in round 9. So bear that in mind. And if I am wrong, I do apologize, but I think that is correct. I think that I just said correct. Look at that. I'm joining words now. It's Midas, Simps, not Shumi. That's your top 3. Not Shumi is on an outlap. It's Midas. He is starting that second outlap. Remember, he went for an outlap on the last lap, and this is exactly where he lost it. This time, gets it right. Activates DRS, and let's see what your provisional pole sitter can come up with. Just a brush over his previous best there in sector 1. Now runs really wide. Won't be surprised if the lap gets invalidated. We'll just listen to the throttle, see if he backs off at all. If it wasn't invalidated and he didn't lose time, I'd say he was darn lucky. But it's Midas continues Still looking to improve on that benchmark that he set, a 1:33.2. Here is Django, no lap time from him just yet. He goes over the line to set his first lap time of the evening, and it's good enough for P3. 1:08.3. Third man into the 1:08.3s. When I said the lap times were going to be close, I didn't expect... Well, there is 9 thousandths of a second between your top three. If that's not close, I don't know what is. That makes the 500ths between Perez and Alonso look like miles. 9 thousandths of a second cover the top three in quali. This is Jacques. He's second of the two Ferraris. He's in P8. His teammate just ahead of him in P6. Jacques on a fast lap. His teammate on an out lap. But both Ferraris are on the move, looking to improve. Royal Viking currently P11. Also out on circuit. Remember, Cheddar and John in the Williams, they will not set lap times. They are starting from the back of the field. That's P15 and 16. That means we have had a driver join us. Remember at the beginning of qualifying we had just the 15 drivers. No surprises on your tyre. And as I say that, I was going to say there's no surprises on your tyre screen, but Thiago's out on a set of mediums. So it's got to be someone doing something different. It's Midas, he's on an out lap. Looking to improve again. Remember, he had two goes at it. He had 2 goes at it last time around. First time around, messed it up in the first sequence of corners, and then second time around, I believe that was invalidated. So it's Midas set an amazing lap time at the beginning of qualifying, but ever since he's been trying to catch it. He's going to try and catch it once more. He starts a new fresh fast lap with 5.5 minutes remaining. Here we go, it's Midas into turn 1. This is where he lost it last time, but none of that this time. Simps goes over the line and sets the fastest lap of the night, and it's by quite some distance. 0.3 of a second is the gap. Simps does a 1:08 flat. It's Midas, goes wide. That's where he went wide last time. And when you go wide on the same corner in 2 laps, it can be so annoying that you just got to charge up that battery and have another go. I don't think he's got to be too worried though. He's firmly on the first row. A lot of drivers sitting in the pits. It's a quiet racetrack. 4.5 minutes to go. Everyone leaving it till the end. Well, we're having a slightly dull moment in qualifying. I have to say thank you to everybody who's been watching the SAFRL channel for the duration of Season 5. The channel has definitely grown, and every single race has had over 150 viewers. So I think for a little league, this channel's been doing fantastically well, and I have to thank you all. Either if you're tuning in live or if you're watching this after. It's been a fantastic Season 5. Now Buffelsfontein is going to go over the line to set. Have another go. Thought that would have been a fast lap, but we missed something. He must have invalidated it. He's having another go. It's Midas. We've caught him just in time. No, we haven't. He's coming into the pits. He did improve on the previous lap. but not by much. He would have improved from a 108.33 to a 108.29. It's not going to be enough to catch Simps on that 108 flat. Will we see anyone in the 107s? We have the Aston Martin of Grimjaw, currently in P3. He's on an outlap. Your front row, Simps and Midas, P1, P2, they are both in the pits. So I'm sure we will see them come out shortly. Otherwise they will run out of time. Obviously a short circuit doesn't take too long to get around here. A very busy racetrack in the closing stages of qualifying. It's your responsibility on these short circuits. It's your responsibility to find that pocket in qualifying. Make sure you are going to have the space on your lap. Not Shumi. You went purple in sector 2. I think this lap time is going to have him move up the field. Takes all of that inside that he can, and it does move him up the field. It's a 108.3, another 108.3, and it's good enough to put him in P3. Not Shumi. Up onto the second row. We have Grimjaw. He's been demoted by Notsumi. That was a few moments ago. So Grimjaw now P4. One of the two Aston Martins appearing here tonight. Remember, a few teams missing their teammate. No, the one is Mercedes-Benz. I think the other one is Alfa Romeo. I think there's also just the one Alpine. Grimjaw, fastest lap, 105.05, 2000s, call it what it is, what is that, 15,000s? It's 15,000s. Still not a 107. I wanted to know if we'd see a 107 in this session, and we've gotten so close. Now Django goes over the line in his session. That is the checkered flag, so he's done, but he got up into P3 at the last moment. It was a 108.1. Where is Simps? Simps is heading up that final hill now. He's going to know if he is able to improve. Well, he will know. He'll be looking down at his dash and he'll know. Is he in the green? Is he in the red? It looks like he's in the green because he's still pushing. For all he's worth, Simps goes over the line and does not improve that lap time. Grimjaw. We wait for Grimjaw's teammate on the night. That is Tiago. He goes over the line currently in P11. Can he get closer to his teammate? Yes, he does. He goes up into P5. And that, folks, is the final qualifying session of Season 5. So that has concluded your final qualifying session of Season 5 and of 2023. And that was with a pole position going to Grimjaw. So there we go, confirmation. Grimjaw takes pole position for this final race of Season 5 for Aston Martin. Simpson P2. Then on the second row we have Django and Midas. Thiago Notsumi P5, P6. Duke in P7. Brands P8. Windsor's P9. And Buffelsfontein making up the top 10. On the other side of the top 10, we've got the other Ferrari of Jacques in P11, Dented Skull P12, Royal Viking 13, Welsh 14, and remember, no lap times from Cheddar and John at the back of your field. And just for one more time this season, we get to look at the empty pit lane, this time of Interlagos, as we await the start of this race. Guys obviously doing just the final touches to their strategies. What tyre compound to start on, what fuel to start on. Do we expect safety cars? And I haven't heard anything interesting in the comments section, so I'm going to go ahead and presume that there is no rain on the way. Some serious lightning outside, but I don't need to worry because, well, I have no electricity. There we go. There's your red lights. 4, 5. And they're off. It always seems to take a little bit too long. Let's go through the field, make sure everything is clean here into turn 1. The McLaren up the inside. And Grimjaw, he didn't want to get into a battle there into turn 1. Turn 1 here in Brazil can really funnel into a disaster very quickly. Simps got up the inside. Grimjaw didn't try and wrestle that position away. Thought it's turn 1. I can get it back later, but for the time being, Simps leads the way. Grimjaw P2, Midas, he's in P3, Django in P4. And the second Aston Martin makes up your top 5. So there are your possible strategies. Start on the hard, end on the medium. We'll go for the 2-stop, which I'm not sure, that didn't quite look right. Some of these stats have me confused from time to time. At the front, Simps leads the way. Grimjaw P2, Django P3. It's lap 1, obviously still no DRS, but if these guys can manage to stay this close together for another 2 or 3 laps, DRS will come into play and we will start to see some position changes. Brazil, a fantastic track to see several passes. Really depends who's going to be brave enough, late enough on the brakes. It may be the last round, but hopefully we don't see anything too heroic. So tonight we're at the circuit Interlagos, one of Formula One's more classic and historic circuits. If you're tired of the Vegas, Miami, Baku scene, this is exactly the track you need. First opened for racing in the year 1940, which I think it's insane. We've had a spin from your leader, spin all the way around. There we go. Where is he going to rejoin, and does he have damage? I think in rejoining, he's put Notsumi off. I'm not sure if that was a collision or if Notsumi just got put off. And we've actually now had 2 cars being affected in that incident. Simps has rejoined. He's in P10. And we're just having a look at the front of the car to see if there's any damage to that front wing. That does not appear to be the case. And the other car, who I wouldn't say was involved in the incident. That was, well, the McLaren was regaining his place and I didn't see a collision. I just think Natsumi got put off by it and left the circuit. But crucially, no damage to that Red Bull either, and both drivers should be able to continue. No penalties on your screen. Still very early on in the race. Most of the field, as you can see, are on mediums. Shark in P16 at the back of the field, he's on a set of hards. And then Welsh in P15, he's on a set of softs. So two drivers at the back of the field trying something different. Everybody else is on a set of mediums. Seems like Thiago may have had some sort of damage. We can't see the front wing from here, but we'll stay with him as he goes into the pits. Let's see if the team does remove that front wing, because he's come in very early. And there we go, there is a front wing, so just confirmation damage to the second Aston Martin. And that will relegate him down pretty far down the field when he was nicely in the top 5. Grimjaw leads the way. Misfortune for the one Aston Martin and fortune for the other. Sounds like the real Aston Martin team. No offense to Thiago, I am in no way comparing him to Lance Stroll. I know he listens to this stream, and I did not mean that the one is Fernando and the other one is Stroll. There we go. Commentators can talk rubbish sometimes. Grimjaw leads the way. Django is still keeping the pressure on him. The gap just 0.3 of a second, and as DRS opens up, he's going to be able to get really close, get on the gearbox of that car, put the pressure on. And even if you can't get past, even if the passing is too difficult, just stay on his gearbox for long enough. Apply the pressure, and eventually something's got to give. But for now, Grimjaw still leads the way. Django on his tail. Brand's in P3. He's sort of fallen off the top 2. Then we have it Midas. He's in P4. And Cheddar. Will you look at that? Your Season 5 championship winner started on the back row. And he's up to P5 on lap 5. I think Red Bull need to take a walk down the pits and figure out what's happening in the back of that AlphaTauri. Grimjaw now starting to shake the Williams off just a little bit. Wonder if Williams was using a lot of its battery to attack, trying to get that pass. And now just needing to save a little bit of battery, maybe getting the tires a little bit too warm, needing to cool them down. But we saw that gap go to almost a second. And just before he fell out of DRS range, Django was able to find a tenth or two and pull himself back into it. I think he knows how crucial it is to stay within DRS. Otherwise you could have that car in front just getting further and further away lap by lap. DRS is going to keep you in it for that much longer. But it's bordering on breaking DRS. We saw it just go over a second and now it's back to 6/10. I wonder if Grimjaw made a mistake. Maybe just didn't get the ideal run up the hill. Now Django will get DRS, and this is probably the closest he's been. But stays in P2. We'll have another go at it now. As you come out of this left-hander, you get another DRS point. But unfortunately, the straight here in Brazil, much like the track, not very long. Can't really get the full effect of DRS as you would get on some of these longer street circuits with incredibly long straights. Over here, it's more of a in some cases a Monte Carlo DRS effect. It's not always as useful as you'd like it to be. Just not quite enough tarmac. There we go. We were speaking about, was there a mistake from Grimjaw, and that one we actually got it on camera. He just slid around there a little bit. Looks awesome on camera when the cars drift. But there's nothing good on the timing sheets about drifting. You lose time. Now Grimjaw, Django, over the line. Half a second is the gap. He will get DRS. He will get as close as he can. He will think about turn one. But he will tuck back behind the gearbox of the Aston Martin. And it's a waiting game. Further back in the field, a man on the move. Started at the back of the field. And now all the way up into P4. It's made up 11 positions since the start of the race. Cheddar now chasing that final podium spot, and I can guarantee you he's not going to be happy with third. He's going to keep on pushing. And with all the fighting between Django and Grimjaw, they've been pretty close. They haven't really been able to pull a gap because they've been having a bit of a battle. So when Cheddar, or if Cheddar, but I think it's when Cheddar gets past the Alpine. There we go, we've got a virtual safety car, first one of the race. As I was saying, if Cheddar gets past the Alpine, those two leaders haven't really built up a sufficient gap to hold off Cheddar's pace, or at least the pace we've seen so far. Cheddar does not have his teammate here with him tonight. Remember, the AlphaTauri team also winning the Constructors' Championship. Just the one driver showing up for the finale. Can you imagine that? Red Bull win the Constructors' Championship and Max just stop showing up. Still under virtual safety car, pretty lengthy virtual safety car. Sometimes these things are just a sector and a half and we're underway again. There we go. That is usually confirmation of the end of virtual safety car. Somebody gets a penalty. And this time it's Buffelsfontein who gets a penalty. That was for speeding under virtual safety car. And he's not going to be too happy with that. Just get confirmation of that. Yes, that is speeding under safety car, so that is not a timed penalty, that is a drive-through penalty, and he's going to have to serve that in the next 3 laps. Otherwise disqualification is on the cards. Django leads the way from Grimjaw. He has been able to get past that Aston Martin. Now Brands P3, Midas P4. What has happened to Cheddar? Has he made a pit stop, or has he just fallen down the field? Looks like he's had a slight fall down the field. Cheddar now P7, John up into P6. He's made up 10 positions since the start of the race. Royal Viking P15. And Midas still very much in contention for a podium position. For the time being, final podium spot. It's the Alpine. And as far as the first 2 spots, Django and Grimjaw, they are yet to decide the order of those 2 steps. In the beginning stages, Django attacked and attacked and attacked. He just couldn't find the spot to get past Grimjaw. Then we had a virtual safety car. Then the switch did happen. Django hasn't really been able to get away from his opponent. Gap staying at about half a second. Will Grimjaw come back at him, or will he try and pass him in the pits? Is tyre management a concern? I think everybody looking to finish on the hards, make it a 1-stop. If you're lucky enough to have a race where you're not involved in any incidents, you're probably looking at a one stop. We're under a full safety car and everything's about to change. Django, he did not pit. He decided to stay out, keep track position. Grimjaw did pit, but was able to come out into P2. Midas in the pits. This entire order is about to change before our eyes. And that's what a safety car can do. You think you've got the race all sewn up, everything is going your way, you're maintaining the gap, you're doing everything you need to do, and then a safety car comes out and you could find yourself in a very different position to where you were before the safety car. It's all about the gamble, it's all about the reaction, who goes in first, who doesn't go in, what is your choice, and then you sort of got to stick to it. Because if you wait to pit after that first lap, there's a very good chance you're going to come out right at the back of the field. So you got to make that decision on lap 1 of the safety car. Do you pit or do you hold on to track position? Looks like to me a lot of the field have pit. Let's just have a look at these stops. Just 2 drivers in the field. John was the cause of that safety car. Just looking there at our screens, he had a DNF. So just the 2 cars on the grid at the moment. That is P1 and P2 that have not pit. I thought Grimjaw had made a pit stop, but I was mistaken. Grimjaw, no pit stop from him. And your leader, Django, no pit stop from him. Wonder now if this safety car may have just caught Django out, caught him napping. Sometimes these warnings or these notices come up on your screen, safety car out, and you just don't have enough time to respond. I think he may have been caught out, because now Django may lead the way at this restart, but he's going to have to do it on 12 lap old mediums, while everyone behind him is on a fresh set of hards. So your leader seems a little out of sequence with the rest of the race, and I just hope he doesn't get swallowed up on the first lap while he tries to get those tyres up to temperature. Now, while all those cars behind do have a fresher tyre, it is a hard tyre. The softer compound should be able to warm up a little quicker. So hopefully in the first sector and a half, Django shouldn't have too many issues. But once those hards come up to temperature and the mediums start to show their age, I do believe the Williams will be a sitting duck. And that could all be triggered by a safety car that was triggered by his teammate. His teammate who was having a fantastic race up until that point, which we had got the incident on our screens. Also remember, guys, while we're on the safety car, there is a second stream Apmogozi does a stream on the other side of things, and you can go and have a look at his stream as well. Go support his channel and leave him a like. And if you do leave here to go there, you better leave this channel a like before you do. And if you haven't subscribed, obviously please do. Channel's growing nicely in season 5. We've gained 40 odd subscribers, and I have no idea who they are. Could just be the 40 drivers in tier 1 and 2. Safety car is well on its way up the pit entry, and now Django will be in charge of the restart. And they actually just swapped positions for a second there, and now they've given the position back. Hopefully no penalties as we get going. But Django will lead the way at the restart. It's Midas P2, Brands P3, not Shumi. He was looking to have a horrible race, and he's recovered quite nicely. He's up into P4, Grimjaw P5, and Cheddar at the restart. He's in P6. Had a great first stint of the race. Will he be able to match it in the second stint of the race and get up to the front and maybe even challenge? Because remember, any advantages, any gaps in the time, all of those have been crunched together again. So if you were coming through the field, that safety car was just what you needed, and you were able to get rid of your one and only safety car, one and only pit stop under that safety car, then that worked out just perfectly. Django leads the way from Midas, but remember, Django is on 14 lap old mediums. It is eventually he will have to come in first. Those tyres will not last. He still holds on to the lead. But for how much longer can he hold on to the lead? The Mercedes goes side by side, and does he get in front before turn 1? Yes, he does. The Alpine's going to try the same thing. The Williams hangs on the outside, and there's a spin. There's a spin. We haven't seen it, but there it is. There's the result of it. We didn't see it live. We just saw it in the background, and there's the result of it. We had Brands, we had Django, they were P2, P3, they came out of that first sequence of corners called the center S's, they made contact, they both left the track, and now Django and Brands, they went from P2 and P3 to P12 and P13. Luckily, this is the last race of the season. Hopefully there won't be too much fighting. Luckily for us, it did not activate a safety car, so we are still under racing speed. Lap 16 of 36. What it has done is it's given Midas a temporary buffer. I say temporary because this gap was a heck of a lot bigger on the last lap. Cheddar's already closed it down, the gap just 1.5 seconds, and when Cheddar does get it into DRS, with the sort of pace he's had so far, surely season 5 champion. Maybe just looking to make things interesting, starting from the back of the field, the ultimate flex, and if he's able to pull it off, well, that's just a sign to everybody else to be ready for season 6. Cheddar has fallen off slightly. Remember, that gap was on 1.5 seconds, now briefly touching 2 seconds, coming under a little bit of pressure from Notsumi. If this was a real F1 race, that AlphaTauri would get out of the way so quickly if he knew what was good for him. But in this virtual reality, AlphaTauri are the Constructors Champions. They're also home to the Season 5 Drivers Champion. Wonder how Helmut Marko would feel about being beaten in the overall season standings by AlphaTauri. And if rumours are to be believed, they've gone with a name that I'm not too much a fan of. Maybe it'll grow on me. But if rumours are to be believed, AlphaTauri next year will be known as... I know it's not original, but I don't like it. They'll be known as the Racing Bulls. It's a little on the nose. But that's that. Next year, the AlphaTauri will be known as the Racing Bulls. That is if rumours are to be believed. We're on lap 18 of 36. Midas leads the way. Cheddar was making up a lot of ground. Then he lost a bit of ground. Wonder if he just made a mistake. So easy to make a mistake, especially around the track of Interlagos. So easy to just get on the power a little early, get a little greedy, see the gap is closing, you get excited, you want to close it even faster, you get a bit greedy, and sometimes just a little mistake on the throttle, and the next thing you know, you've lost 3 or 4 tenths of the advantage you've been working so hard to close. Cheddar has been able to close it. He's brought it back to 1.5 seconds. And in the background, definitely Duke. He's in P3. His hard tyres are slightly older than the cars around him. But just the 3 laps, so I don't think it will play a role in the early stages of the race. Buffelsfontein P4. Tiago, who's had quite the race, he's now in P5. Remember, he got relegated right to the back of the field at the end of lap 1. Total disaster for him, but shows you how these races can swing around, and sometimes all it takes is a safety car at the right time, and if it syncs with your pit stop, you can find yourself coming back into a race that you thought was long gone. We have 2 Haas drivers here tonight, and that's a commentator's curse, because as I go to the 1 Haas driver, he's immediately past, and that's a lot of thunder. Apologies for the background noise. Royal Viking loses that position to Grimjaw, who's on a recovery drive of his own. Remember, he led this race at a stage, and when that mistake did come, he was in P2, and he took P3 with him as well. He's been able to recover nicely. He's back into P6. Unfortunately for the second car in that incident, that was the Alpine. This one over here, Brands, he is at the back of the field in 14th place on a new set of softs. He'll be hoping for a safety car so that he too gets an opportunity to come back in this race. We have a caution. We're just keeping our eyes on it because we don't want it to jump into a safety car. It's Midas still leads the way. Cheddar still P2. That gap just fluctuating between 1.5 to 2 seconds. Wonder if Cheddar is just managing his tyres and he's going to have a go in the closing stages of the race, or if it's that he just can't keep up with Midas. Getting some support in the comment section. Great to see there's still support for the stream in round 10 when the championship has already been decided. We're still getting views, still getting likes. I think the popularity of this league will just go from strength to strength as more and more people get to see what this league is all about and what the quality of driving in this league is all about. For the time being, Midas leads from Cheddar. Gap 3 seconds. It's the largest gap we've seen in quite some time. Cheddar just sort of losing control there, losing a bit of touch, sorry. I saw an Aston Martin sliding in the background. I'm trying to see who that was. But I think that was Thiago in the background. Caught it nicely if it was him. Just a very, very big drift, but was able to catch it at the end. He's followed very closely by his teammate. The Aston Martin's having a good evening so far, running P4, P5, neither of them on the podium, and they'll want to get on the podium, but in order to do it, they need to catch the Ferrari. Buffelsfontein up ahead. He's lost contact with Cheddar. Cheddar nowhere near him. He's up the road comfortably in P2. And then it's Midas for the time being. Looks like he's got everything wrapped up. 3.8 seconds. The gap's going in the right direction for him. Tires will not be the deciding factor because P1 and P2 have the same set of tires, same compound, same age. So this is really going to come down to who manages their tires the best, who's got the most grip on that final 2 or 3 laps of the race. It's Midas leads 3.9 seconds. Gap continues to grow. 12 laps to go. Does Cheddar accept second place, or is he going to have a late surge at the end of the race and try and close this 4-second gap? It's going to be really difficult, but the first thing he's going to need to do is get back into DRS. He's not going to be able to do anything without it. Needs to get himself back into that 1 second range, and then he can think about having a go. But for the time being, gap a little bigger than he'd like it, and he's picked up a penalty just for good measure. So that's made his race that little bit more difficult if he wants to get the win. He now needs to pass Midas and build up a gap that will eliminate that penalty. It is a 3-second penalty for confirmation. Midas leads and no mistakes so far. 4.3 seconds. Gap continues to grow. And I'm sure he was wishing for a few more results like this earlier on in the season, so that we could have taken this championship to round 10. But it's really just the consistency of the two AlphaTauri drivers. Midas leads the way. Cheddar P2. Let's have a look. Are there any battles on track? This is the only battle I see on track. It's Jacques going at Royal Viking. It's a battle for P7. Jacques thinking about taking the position and just thinking better of it, staying behind the horse for now. Sometimes you know you've got the pace. You know you're faster than the guy in front of you. But when it comes to making the move, you just want to make sure you put the car in the right place. Last thing you want to do is make contact, and sometimes it's just that second thought, it's enough. There we go, the horse coming back at the Ferrari, almost pushing him off circuit, and somehow Royal Viking holds on to it from the outside, but the Ferrari should get DRS. Going to use what battery he's got left, dives behind the horse to get a little bit of slipstream, and it hasn't worked. The horse stays in front. This is Royal Viking, the man under pressure. Can't see much of his mirrors because of all the rubbish I have up on your screen, but I assure you he's looking at his mirrors, and all he sees is the Scarlet Red Ferrari. And that will be a bit of a relief for him. Jacques picks up a penalty. Just get confirmation of what those penalties are. But Royal Viking's got a penalty of his own, so he's just cancelled out that little advantage that he had. Everywhere else on track, everyone has a suitable gap to the car in front and behind them. So not much happening in terms of action. Car's just driving around trying to get to the end of Season 5. But this battle here, still keeping us entertained. Ferrari went very much to the inside, almost had to pull out of it because he was going into the pit entry. And the Haas stays in front for yet another lap. And Jacques will be getting frustrated. He's there in P8. He's on a set of mediums, 15 laps old. He's probably going to have to come into the pits in the next couple of laps. Unless he goes extremely late into this race on a set of mediums. I don't think it's possible. So Jacques will come in shortly. But this will be frustrating. He would have wanted to get past this Haas 2 or 3 laps ago. And already try and build some sort of an advantage so he could go and make that pit stop. But instead, just nothing he can do. Getting as close as just 2 tenths down the road, but cannot make the pass. He's committed to a few. And the Haas has hung around the outside and kept the position for a few. So we've seen some great racing here, and it's for P7. The rest of the field looks like an endurance race. It's all a little boring. This time the Haas on the inside, the Ferrari on the outside. Ferrari with DRS, but the Haas again defends into turn 1. If it was the other way around, I'd say it was team orders. I'd say Ferrari was telling Haas, you stay where you are. But since the Haas is in front, I think everyone at Ferrari would be scratching their heads. Let's go back to your leader. Just because he's alone doesn't mean he deserves no coverage. P1, 3.7 seconds up the road from Cheddar, so he's maintained that gap around the 4-second mark. Seems to be in control. Cheddar really looked like he was going to challenge him, especially at the restart of the safety car. But then just started to fall away after those initial laps. And after that, Midas just controlled this race. Fontaine flying the flag high for the Scuderia, currently in P3, and he'll be hoping to hold on to that podium because he's got your pole position sitter Grimjaw. He's in P4 looking to get himself back on the podium, looking to get himself something out of this race. He'll be so disappointed. Started at the front, lost that lead immediately into turn 1. Battled and battled, got it back briefly, then lost it again, then had contact with the man in P3, had to have a recovery drive, and what a recovery drive it's been. He's back up into P4, the man in P3 is just up the road, and he'll be smelling that podium. Saying if maybe Cheddar was managing his tyres so that he just have a little bit of extra grip at the end, and I think we'll find out now in the last 5 or 6 laps of the race if he does have anything left, if he does have anything deep in the pocket that he can pull out at the last minute to close this gap. But honestly speaking, with that penalty next to his name, I think if he did have anything left, he would have applied it earlier on, because it's leaving things a bit late. Said things were getting boring. And now, we've got a battle for third place. Grimjaw has come back into this. He's left his teammate behind. Remember, those Aston Martins were running close together. Now they're separated by 5.5 seconds. Grimjaw's made his way all the way up the road to the final podium step. Buffelsfontein, you're going to have to do some defending in the closing stages of this race. Luckily for nobody in that top 7, I don't believe anyone should have a bad final stint to this race purely based on tyres, because the top 7 all have pretty much the same strategy, with the exception of Grimjaw having a set of tyres that are a total of 1 lap fresher. Don't think that's going to be too much of a factor. But if it is a factor, Grimjaw will extract it. Just a reminder of your retirements for this evening. We started with 16 drivers. We're down to 12. We've lost both Red Bulls. That is definitely Duke and not Shumi, both DNFing from this race. Then we also have John in the Williams. He DNF'd earlier on, and the first retirement of the evening was Sims, who led this race at a stage. So 4 retirements of the 16 that started. We're left with 12 drivers. We're left with 4 laps to go. And its Midas seems to be very much in control. We were coming back to third place to see how it's going, and Grimjaw has just cleared the Ferrari, gets himself back up into P3, and I think catching the AlphaTauri in front of him would be a step too far. And as I say that, one last twist. What do I even say? What do I say? Let me know in the comment section. What do I say? We have a safety car on lap 32 of 36. Presumably this safety car will last a minimum of 2 laps. That'll lead us onto lap 34, giving us a 2-lap sprint to the end of the race. I was just about to say, will people utilize the pit stop, change of tyres, and your leaders, Midas, Cheddar, both into the pits? I presume to put on a set of soft tyres. Cheddar also. This is when the team can make silly mistakes. There we go, Cheddar also onto a set of softs, so no surprises. Not so long ago I was involved in a race where a car came in to put on a set of softs for his final stint, and they put on a set of inters. So can always be quite nerve-wracking as you wait for that sidewall color to appear on your screens to make sure it's the right one. Now, what happens now? A few gambles in the order. You're going to be able to see who's taking a gamble from their tyre usage. So if you look at Grimjaw is on a pretty weathered set of hards. He chose not to pit, so he has chosen to take track position. He is leading the race. He will be in charge at the restart. It's Midas. He was leading this race by a considerable margin and seemed to have everything under control. He's now in P2, but he's got a brand new set of softs. Cheddar's in P3 also with a brand new set of softs. I think Grimjaw's going to have his hands full at the restart. Django in P4. It's also on a set of softs, but I think he may find it very difficult to hold on to that P4 because his softs are 12 laps old. Buffelsfontein, he did make a pit stop. So he is another car on the brand new set of softs. 6 drivers at the restart will have new softs. It's Midas, Cheddar, Buffelsfontein, and then at the back of the field, your second Aston Martin, Thiago Welsh, and Royal Viking. Those are the 6 cars that will start on brand new softs. And I think we can expect some of those drivers to make some gains on the final 2 laps of the race, as they have all the grip in the world and absolutely no need for any tyre management for what will effectively be a 2-lap shootout. Field is all together. I think we will get confirmation. We should get confirmation, otherwise we'll have a 1-lap shootout to the end. So I think we will get confirmation that the safety car will be heading into the pits, and then we'll have a last dash, 2 laps of madness to the end, and hopefully all 11 drivers in the field make it to the end. Sometimes when there's no need for tyre management and there's so little time left, you can just lose your head a little bit. Think all of a sudden, for some reason, you can brake 100 meters later. No, you can't. Safety car will be coming in this lap. Found that notification to be a little bit late, but now Grimjaw, he'll be looking in his mirrors. He'll be thinking, when do I go? His biggest chance at winning this race is basically catching those cars behind him, napping, keeping them unawares. When is he going to go? But look at it's Midas. He's pulling a Max Verstappen at the restart. Looks like an Abu Dhabi 2021, almost overtaking the man in P1, and now he goes just before the start-finish line. Left it as late as he possibly could. Grimjaw leads the way from Midas. Cheddar P3, Django P4, Bifflesfontein, he's lost a few paces. Down to P5, Wizards P6. Remember, he had that grid penalty, making up good positions. Then we got Dented Skull P7, Thiago P8, Welsh P9, Royal Viking has actually just gone up to P9. Welsh has just gone down to P10, and Shark making up the field. But at the front, this is where the action is. Well, the action's all over. We've got a 2-lap sprint at the end. Grimjaw holds on to the lead for now. Remember, we've just had a safety car, so these cars will not have DRS. This is Grimjaw's best opportunity to defend, and as I say it, Cheddar sweeps up the inside. Remember, Cheddar's got that 3-second penalty, so if he wants to win this race, it's not over yet. He's done an amazing job so far, but he's going to have to pull out something pretty incredible. He's going to have to pull out a 3-second gap in 1 lap. And surely that will be a step too far. Midas goes past Grimjaw and heads up into P2. And I think, as I predicted under safety car, those hard tyres, they were just going to be a little bit too much of a handful. It's a good gamble if you're able to stay out in front. It's Midas has also cleared Grimjaw. Obviously, Cheddar would have been hoping that Grimjaw just had a little bit of a difficult, gave Midas just a little bit of a difficult time, held him back for half a lap or so. It would have helped him open the advantage. He does have an advantage, but it's not going to be enough. The advantage is 1.3 seconds. He has a 3-second gap. So Cheddar is in the lead on the track, but Midas looks like he will take victory in the final round. Will Cheddar take the fastest lap on the final lap? 1 more point in the championship couldn't hurt. Goes over the line, does take the fastest lap. It's P1. Penalties applied. Midas takes the win. Very nicely done from the Mercedes driver. Mercedes driver that's quite popular in the comment section. Just the 10 runners. Dented Skull became the latest of the DNFs. So just 10 runners, 6 retirements at the end of the season. At the end of 2023 for league racing here at SAFRL. I'm not sure if there may be special events, but as far as league racing goes, thank you so much for joining us this season. Here we go, folks. Your Results for the final race of Season 5. It's Midas. He took the victory. It was as a result of a penalty. Cheddar did a great job, but picked up that penalty and he'll still be kicking himself for it now. Cheddar finished P2. Grimjaw P3. He was your pole sitter. Then Wizards P4. Django P5. Tiago P6. Welsh P7. Shark in P8. Viking P9. And Buffelsfontein making up the top 10, as well as making up your field. 6 retirements, Dented Skull, Brands, the pair of Red Bulls, definitely Duke and not Shumi, as well as John in the Williams, and your first retirement of the evening. And your P2 grid sitter, Sims. To everyone who is watching, I see there are a few people watching on the stream, and I know we get so many more viewers after the live stream. So to everyone who watched with us live, thank you so much for joining us, not only tonight, for the entirety of Season 5. And I really hope to see all of you back for Season 6, whenever that may be. But I'll be with you in Season 6. I'll see you then. Thank you all. Cheers.